Thank you for coming here. If you are interested in new business ideas, interesting videos and tutorials on important topics, then don't forget to subscribe our channel. Welcome to my channel.
Step 1. Login at SRB. Enter user ID and password and click on Login button. You should have user ID and password to log in at SRB portal. If you do not have user ID and password, please enroll yourself at SRB. I have already uploaded a video on how to get enrolled. Upon successful login, you will be directed to your account at SRB. Step 2. Preparation of sales tax on services return. Please click on Declaration. The declaration menu will show filing options. Select Sales Tax on Services Return. A form will appear. Fill the tabs applicable to you. The form will be displayed in two sections. The first section is Registry. This section shows your registration particulars, i.e. SNTN, NTN, name, and CNIC, etc. This section is pre-filled. Please select Tax Period from the left side of the form, select Tax Year and Month. Click on Sales Tax Return if you have any tax payable. Click on File Null Return, if nothing is due to pay. If you have click on Sales Tax Return, the return form SST03 will appear. Fill its sections as follow: Sales Tax Credit section. This section accumulates input tax paid, i.e., sales tax credit. Details of items is given below. Domestic purchases excluding fixed assets for providing, rendering of services. The Annex A will open as you click on it for entering your domestic purchases to claim input tax adjustment. Notes are given at the end of Annex for help. An auto-generated summary is given at end showing the status of suppliers as a taxpayer. Imports excluding fixed assets including value addition tax on commercial imports, please click on Annex B, if you have any imports as your input to claim input tax adjustment. Capital, fixed assets, domestic purchases and imports. Please enter your purchases of capital, fixed assets and sales tax on there. Non-creditable inputs relating to exempt, non-taxed supplies, rendering of services and services provided in other jurisdictions and tax there. Please enter the tax paid there, to adjust the claim. Input tax for the month, formula, 1 + 2 + 3 - 4. This will be an auto-calculated amount from given input information. Credit carried forward from the previous tax periods determined by the department where applicable. Please enter any credit as determined by the department. Sales tax withheld by the buyer as the withholding agent. Enter the amount of sales tax deducted by the buyer of your service as a withholding agent. Accumulated credit Senior 8 formula 5 + 6 + 7. The accumulated input tax credit will be automatically calculated. Sales tax debits. This section calculates the total output tax for the tax period. Details of each item is given below. Service provided, rendered Annex C. This section is about domestic sales. Enter the particulars of sales made in Annex C. Services exported, enter the particulars of any exports made during the tax period in Annex D. Output tax for the month equals 9. The auto-calculated amount is shown on the main page. Determination of tax liability. Input for the month admissible under the rules formula 3 + 6 + admissible inputs 1 and 2. See notes in Annex A. Senior 12, this shows accumulated tax credit admitted during the period. An auto-calculated figure. Available balance Dr. or CR Senior 13 Formula 11 7 plus 12. Output admissible during the period withheld by the buyer. This is an auto-calculated figure, shows net tax payable, refund. Do you want to carry forward the inputs of capital, fixed assets declared at Senior 3 above Y.N. Senior 14? The rules have given the option to the taxpayer to claim the refund and carry forward it to adjust in future periods. Sales tax payable formula: if Senior 13 greater than 0, then Senior 15 equals Senior 13, otherwise Senior 0.15 equals 0. Refund claim on capital, fixed assets, formula: if 14 equals no, then minimum of fixed assets and available balance, otherwise 0. Senior 16. If a taxpayer wants to claim a refund yes on Senior 0.14, then that amount or the net refund of inputs whichever is minimum will be refunded. Auto-calculated. Credit to be carried forward, the formula: if 13 0 then 17 otherwise 0. Senior 18. Auto-generated amounts showing your refund claim if any at the year end. Net credit carried forward formula: if tax month equals June then 0 otherwise 0. If the tax year ends then no carry forward, otherwise as per periodical carried forward if any. Fine, penalty, additional tax, default surcharge A plus B plus C. Please enter amounts of fine, penalty, additional tax, default surcharge, if any. Total amount to be paid Senior 24 formula 15 plus 20. Sales tax payable plus any additional as in Senior 0.20. This figure is auto-calculated. Tax paid on normal, previous return. Applicable in case of amended return. Balance tax payable, refundable formula, 24 to 25. Auto-calculated, shows net tax payable, refundable. Select bank account for receipt of refund Senior 27. In the case of Senior 26 shows a refund, then please select an account for refunds. Headwise payable. This is the last section of the form and required payment receipts numbers and shows a summary of the headwise payment. Enter CPR no and amount in the paid section. Step 03, e-filing the return. Save. Fill and save the returns form. To prepare your return, click the Save button to do so. Save will only be available before verification. Once the return is verified, submitted, the Save button will be disabled. Verify and unverified. When you have saved, prepared your return, verify it by clicking the Verify button. You have to save the return once, to verify it. After verification, the return can either be submitted or unverified by clicking the Unverified button. You cannot edit, update the return in verified mode. E-payment and enter CPR no. If there is some amount in the Net Tax Payable field code 99,991, you will need to pay this amount before submitting your return. There are two ways to make the payment against the return. 1. E-payment. If there is some net tax payable against your return, the button E-payment will be enabled. Click the button and follow the instructions to create an e-payment. A PSID payment slip ID is generated by the system. Take the payment slip print to the bank and make payment against it. A CPR number will be issued by the bank against the payment. Until the payment is cleared by the bank, all the buttons remain disabled except the print return button. Once the payment is cleared by the bank, the button Enter CPR no is enabled. 2. Manual payment. Pay the net tax payable amount in the bank against your income tax return. A CPR number will be issued by the bank against the payment. After you have been issued a CPR number by the bank against the payment, enter the CPR no issued and the amount paid against the CPR by clicking the Enter CPR no button. Now the Submit button will be enabled. Submit. Submit button is enabled after you have entered the CPR No. You can submit the return only after you have verified the return. Submit the IT return by clicking the Submit button. You will receive an acknowledgement slip. Now the return is locked for any editing. To change anything in the return, you will have to revise it and work on the revised return. Revise. Revise button is enabled only after you have submitted the return. By clicking the Revise button you can revise the return. When you click the Revise button, you have to follow the above mentioned steps to submit the revised return. Print return. Print return button is used to print the income tax return. After clicking this Print return button, the return you have submitted will be opened in Acrobat Reader. You must have Acrobat Reader to get print of the return. Note, make sure pop-ups are enabled in your Internet Explorer before clicking the Print return button. Acknowledgement. On clicking the Acknowledgement button, a web-based acknowledgement slip is displayed which may be printed by clicking the Print button. The return is filed after you have submitted the return. Thank you.